Hello, it's David Roylance here from Speak to Shine, and welcome to the Speak to Shine show. Here as you know, oh, hello, there's my book, Be Seen, Be Heard, Get Paid What You're Worth, which is, of course, my Amazon best-selling book. And we here at Speak to Shine like to give a platform to some amazing voices that maybe haven't had the opportunity to be amazing voices before. And what you, as my audience, may or may not know is that for the past 3 years, I have presented to audiences of PAs, personal assistant, executive assistant, virtual assistant, in the assistant world. And so I have a marvelous person here today, an expert from the world of hospitality who I met recently at the PA show, Anna Yoga.
Hi, all.
Exactly. Say hello. And so you are an executive assistant to one of the C-suite within a hotel group. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I am the assistant to the executive director. He is our only executive director, so I work with him, and I work with our other clusters, including the general managers and other cluster heads, revenue, sales and marketing, and so on.
Super. How many hotels in?
At the moment, we have 4. One here in London, one in Reading, one in Bath, and now recently we opened one in Edinburgh.
And do you have any outside of the UK as well?
Yes, we have 3 in India, so that's all of us. So yeah.
Has that ever gotten you a trip on the plane to India?
I actually have never been. When I started as an executive assistant, we were just coming out of COVID, so I was kept here, and only my director will be going soon, expected in January, and we shall see.
Very good. Well, let's hope that comes off. I'd like to start by asking you about your journey. What's brought you here?
Okay, so into hospitality, it was a summer job. I was working as a room attendant for 3 months. And before that, I was studying informatics. I studied informatics in high school and in uni. And then I got a summer job and I decided, hospitality is for me. I love it. And I'm planning to stay in hospitality. And then when I meet with David at the PA show, I was always, and I'm still afraid of doing public speaking. So I was like, okay, this is something I want to work on. And he offered. So here I am.
What is it you love most about hospitality? What?
It's the human connection. I like helping people and I like giving them that little bit of extra, just there's a smile when they come in and you give them a smile and they smile back and you know that, here they are, they have arrived. So that's what it for me.
Good. So how does that in the work that you do, and as an assistant to the only executive director that you have in your hotel group, does that lead you to be very much a people person as in the role that you do?
So I work with our director. I handle his diary, so that's one part of the job. I obviously have a lot of outside contacts when I have to reach out, like we have this meeting, organize all of this, either providing the meeting space or do links, and all of this is part of it. Other part is human resources. I handle human resources in the brand, so that involves a lot more human connection. Just onboarding people every day, HR stuff, and then saying them goodbye.
Yeah, well, people might not know what constitutes HR stuff, and HR and human resources are in a way it's kind of like it can be used as a buzzword, and to a certain extent. I wonder what it really means to you.
I prefer it as human resources and handling our human assets. And this doesn't sound too right, but this is what it is. I believe that for our brand and for everyone else, the human element is the most important. And especially in hospitality, they make the brand what it is. Everything else can be found everywhere else. You can get a room, hot water, Wi-Fi in almost all the other hotels, but it's the human who makes us. So yeah.
Well, people, if especially if they're going to buy something a second or third time, and when you're in the business of people sleeping in in your establishment, right?
Yes.
They're coming to a hotel. Yes, they may eat. Yes, they may drink. Yes, they may have all sorts of needs, but ultimately they're taking a hotel room to sleep.
Yes.
That actually there are so many brands out there, aren't there? Of different hotels at all sorts of different levels of comfort. That, well, if people are going to stay with a group, it's going to be because of who the people are, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely because they build connection either with our check-in staff or our sales team or our restaurant team. So it's definitely that and their connection. And like, oh yeah, I stayed there last time. They remember me. They know that, oh, I have a dog with me. So they place the dog bed then. And it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. What level would you say the chain is? Is it a sort of high level? Is it?
It's a luxury 5-star lifestyle hotel. So yes.
Lovely. Yeah. Yes. So people invest
less. Yes, they invest a lot to come and stay with us, and we make the most of it. So.
And do you have any direct contact with the guests as part of your role?
Not anymore. Unless I actually run into them. Sometimes I come out and, oh, you work here. And I'm like, how did you guess that I work here? Because even now I work normal street clothes and not wear uniform. And they're like, oh yeah, you work here. Can you help me with this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, we can do this and this. For that one, I will have to speak reception. So sometimes I do run into them, but most of the time, no, I don't get involved with guests anymore.
I know you deal with a lot of challenges that are thrown at you because, like you said to me earlier, it's my job. It's just what I do.
Yes.
Right. But I'd love it if you could share with our audience, if there are people who are thinking about entering the world of hospitality, or people who are actually already in the world of hospitality. Can you think of one of the biggest challenges that you have faced in your role that you've actively been able to resolve?
Well, as I said, executive assistant, I don't work with guests. Previously, when I was a night manager, very often I was the first contact they reach out to because they're like, oh, I have this issue and I want it solved. Preferably now, because as a night manager, I work at 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning. And people are like cranky, want to go to sleep, and they don't want to wait around for this one to be solved. So it was very often, okay, let's get this done. And very often, if you are there to get this done and you show empathy and understanding that, yeah, you know that this is a horrible situation and really this is not something you want to deal with it, then yeah, it makes a difference.
And is empathy your kind of tip for people?
I would say it's good to remember that you are dealing with humans, and humans can be messy. Humans can be emotional.
Yes.
And sometimes they are just like, no, I absolutely do not want to be nice. But there is also the human connection. Even now, when I started as a night receptionist, oh my gosh, like 4 or 5 years ago, I remember a guy come in. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. We were about to close our systems, and he come in I have no idea where he did come home. He was a Swedish guy, I believe. He come in and he gave me a big smile, but really the sunshine smile, and was like, okay, hi, and we hit it off so quickly, and even now I still remember this guy. I forgot his name. How does he look like? But I remember that he gave me such a good feeling just because he smiled at me. That's how he comes. So yeah, this is the human connection.
And the human connection, if you were to sort of define what that is, what words would you use?
It's, I would say it's love, but it's also being friendly and being there together, and yeah, it's warmth. It's all of these.
Actually, I love that. I love that it's love, because it's almost like that's actually all there is in the world to keep the world moving, and to be able to sustain that love in, when somebody is not behaving in a manner that encourages people to express themselves with love, especially if you've been working as a night manager with the public, and people have been cranky. Yes. And sometimes maybe you might be tempted not to treat people with love, but actually that's the key component, isn't it? Now, how does that work now that you're not client facing, but your responsibilities are much more with the team that you're working with the human assets, the human resources?
I found some sense it's similar, but it's some sense different, because as a guest, you come, you stay with us 1 day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but then you are gone. This is not your home. But for a team, you will be there for months, if not years. And one thing can make a connection really just sour, because you're like, yeah, the last time what they did is just, no, we don't want to do it. So you don't want that. And I found that because this is such a long relationship, you can really build upon it and have a really, really solid connection with all of your teams.
How big's your team?
Well, as an executive assistant, for me, it's the clusters, which now is 13 or 14 people, plus sometimes their assistant as well. So
okay, and so their assistants as well. What does that bring that 13, 14 up to?
I think last time we went to 18.
Okay. And what responsibilities do you hold in relation to those 18 people?
So for human resources, I mostly deal with the general managers because the staff is under them. So if they have an issue with the staff, it's me who gets called in. If there is something to be gifted as well, it comes to me. So we prepare our years of service anniversaries, birthdays we are celebrating, that comes to me. Babies, if you have babies, that comes to me. Weddings, similarly, that comes to me. And all of these small little touches that comes to me. So that's the majority of my duties. Obviously, there is the policy making. If there are new legalizations, how we spread that one across the brand, that also comes to me, and mostly gets handled by me. So yeah, that's for me.
Tell us a little bit more about these policies and your what kind of things have you been involved with?
Most of them is either memos. Sometimes it's training. Sometimes now that holidays, how they have changed, that comes to me. We recently had a bit of change when we updated our contracts. So I have to prepare the contracts. We had the conversations with our employees, and now everybody is signed. Everybody is happy. No issues, because it's always a bit of a struggle when, okay, so why are you changing the contract? And you have to be like, okay, so this is just a statutory wording change. Nothing changes. No, it's your salary, everything else. Okay, but what does this mean? And what does this mean? And you have to explain. So, yeah.
So again, it comes back, you're coming back to that thing of holding a space of love when people are frightened or concerned.
Yes. For me, I understand their situations. For me, it's a lot of the time like they talk about, oh, this was not paid, or I have this question, or I have this worry, and you have to understand that that's for them. It's a very sensitive situation. Okay, so once before it happened that one of our employees lost her biometric residence permit. She believed that it was broke by home office, and she was like, okay, I have to leave the country and everything else, and all this stressful situation. And she said that I have to leave now, and I'm like, but what happened? She's like, oh, I had this issue with my boyfriend, and it just went bad, really, really bad. And I'm like, okay, don't worry, stay here. And what we can do for you, we can check for your right to work somewhere with a different service. Just wait for that. Let us see if we can, and then you can stay with us. And basically, in a week's time, we got the response back from home office that, yeah, she's fine. Nothing happened. The BRP is separating, so she stayed with us. But this was a big difference for her because she almost lost her job. She would have to leave back home. So she was really, really stressed about it.
But she's here still.
Yes, she is still here, and she's still working with us.
Good.
So.
And you found the solution?
For me, it was knowing the situation, because most of the time to do the right to work check, you do a share code. They give you the share code, the date of birth, etc. You could do it online, and it's all fine. And she said that because her biometric residence was revoked, she has to go home. And I'm like, but that's not the situation usually. So I was like, okay, just let me see. And then I investigated. We have the employee checking service. We used that one, and yeah, she got it, so it's fine.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank
well
you.
done for keeping her here and keeping her in employment as well. If there are other PAs and EAs listening in to what you're saying today, do you have advice for other executive assistants for what's the best way for them to do their role? Have you got a tip that you could give?
For me, it's understanding. Understand that other people have other issues. Sometimes they are being pressed either outside from the company or inside from the company, and try to work with them. Because most of the time, if you try to work with them, they will also try to work with you, or they can be upfront with you, like, no, we cannot do this for this and this reason. This is where it stops, and then you have to find a different way. That you have to be like, okay, so this is where it stops. Thank you, and let's go somewhere else.
I'm reminded of the apocryphal story of when President John F. Kennedy went to Cape Canaveral and was getting a tour of Cape Canaveral, and he saw a cleaner in the middle of the reception area, and he walked over to the cleaner and said, what do you do here? And the cleaner responded, like everyone else here, I'm here to put a man on the moon. And I'm reminded of that because I think it sounds from what you're telling me, what you're doing is really skilled, and yet people might have a sense of the value of a PA or a VA or an EA like yourself in terms of where hierarchically they sit in an organization.
I lot of the time found that people find me useful to be there, but a lot of the time they also have no idea of what they ask from me, what background work it would entail.
Yes.
Or the hours behind it, or sometimes even that they are not the only one who asking me things and I have to handle. So a lot of the time it's like a juggling of, okay, I have this responsibility for this one, these deadlines for this one. And some of them cannot be missed because this has to be done. because this and this will not get done if this is not here. Some of them is like, okay, we need this because we have an outside pressure. So a lot of it is juggling, yes.
Yes. Well done for juggling. And tell me, do you have ambitions for where you want to be next?
For work, I'm happy to be an executive assistant. I would like to further progress in my role and learn skills, which is good for my job. And for my future, I want a house in Scotland near the seaside. That's where I see myself.
Yes.
If I'm retired, or maybe I went sooner than that, a house in Scotland near in the seaside and just enjoying the view.
Super. And will that be with your dogs?
Probably not my dogs at the time. They are 10, 14 years old, 14 and 12 years old. So they probably won't be making the trip to here from Hungary to here.
You're right.
But I will definitely have dogs, hopefully big, fluffy dogs, because I always love big, fluffy dogs.
The big, fluffy dogs?
Yes.
Tell me, so am I right in thinking you're Hungarian born?
Yes, I am.
And you came, is it 9 years ago you came to the UK?
9 years. No, it was 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Thank you. What do you, just out of curiosity, what was the biggest culture shock for you coming across from Hungary to be in the UK?
So from Hungary I went to Denmark, and Denmark to here, which is a very different situation. I come from Denmark, and I come from the northern part, from Aalborg in Denmark, and everybody told me that London is rainy, there is no sunshine here, all these, you hear it 1,000 times. And I come in, and I remember it one of those hot summers when I was coming in, and it's like, yeah, this is very sunny. So that was the biggest culture shock. And especially because in Denmark during winter time, it gets really dark. You don't really see the sun. So I come to London and I was like, yeah, there is sun here. I don't know what is the issue. So that was the biggest difference.
Very good. So we got some bad press on the weather abroad, essentially.
I would not say bad press, just maybe not true press.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. And in terms of the way people behave, I'm particularly thinking about your skills as a people person.
For me, that was not a difference, because in London there are so many nationalities, and even in nationalities there are so many differences that I did not find a difference. That's people are people.
Good. That's nice to hear. That people are people wherever you go.
Yes. So I found that there are rude people everywhere.
Yeah.
They are not connected to a single nationality. Would make life all easier, but sadly they are not, and they can be found everywhere. And you have to definitely keep in mind that just because of one bad experience, if you have them, it doesn't mean that the others are the same.
Here. Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Good. And I know you say you're happy as an executive assistant.
Yes.
But you would like to have more responsibilities. Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of responsibilities that would be attractive to you? Maybe the challenges that would be attractive to be able to sink your teeth into?
There is two of them. One would be more appreciation for our staff. I want to do so many little stuff just to make them feel good and happy to come to work. And there is sustainability. I believe in sustainability and to protect the planet. So yeah, these are the two things.
So excellent. So tell me about what sustainability means in real terms for you, like tangibly.
For me, it's a lot of the times the small things. Remembering not to print again, or if you have to print that, then you reuse the paper. Turning off the light when you leave the office. I remember when last night we were here, on the square. I was just looking at the office building across us. It was 6 p.m. and I was starting to counting like how many people are in there, and it was just like only 10 of them. And I think one of them is a cleaner. And every light was on, absolutely all of them. And I was like, why it's on? Like that, it's just such a waste to keep this on. So remembering to turning off the lights, to sometimes turning off your monitor or your computer. So all of these little things do add up.
Tell me, and I agree with you there, these things do add up. And is it likely that if you can get into a position where you can deal with that, you could make a big difference to your hotel group?
For me, if I could change something, it would be absolutely abolishing all the paper which we have, all of it.
Right, going completely paperless.
Exactly, absolutely, completely paperless. I remember when I started, we had downtime reports. It was a big hotel, and you have to print it off every 2 hours because you need it in the case of fire, which is fine. But it was, I think, comes to like 200 pages. So every single 2 hours, you print off 200 pages, which you use for 2 hours, and then you put it in the shredder because it's sensitive information. And I was just flabbergasted, like, why would you do this? If you just get a tablet, and that time it was still expensive, the amount of paper you save would pay for the tablet. Never mind that 200 pages are impossible to search, especially in the case of fire, when you're like, okay, I have this page here, and then you lost everything, and you have just a tablet in your hand, and you could be like, yeah, I have this, you can search, and it makes electric. So I want to go completely paperless.
Very good. And do others agree with you in the hotel chain? Have you got some backing there to make that happen?
Yes. Interestingly, our accounting team is on the opinion that yes, let's go paperless. Unfortunately, they cannot because of the record keeping purposes. So, but they definitely on the opinion that yeah, we should go as much paperless as possible and to think about sustainability. So yeah.
So I one last question. What is the thing in life that you are most proud of achieving?
Oh my gosh.
And it doesn't have to be about work if you don't want to talk about work. But I just wonder what is.
I'm proud of many things. The most proud. This is so difficult to pick. I'm proud of my art skills. I'm proud of where I am, that I got the executive assistant position. This was such a new thing for me when I got it, and for the first 3 months I was just so nervous. And the funny thing is that I had no reason to be nervous. It was just so new and so different of what I did before that I was just so nervous. But yeah, I got it. So I'm here.
Yeah. How did you handle those nerves?
When I was a night manager and supervisor, there's a 3 months probation period, and I always keep that the first month is for training. Yeah. The second month is to smooth out all the small things, to get a bit more experience. And the third month, you are just absolutely there if the catastrophic happens. Otherwise, they should be already doing it by themselves. So I try to keep the same thing for myself. Okay, the first month, you just see what is happening. The second month, okay, so the last time this happened, so make a plan. Okay, you have this. And I had the support from our accounting team because we have this. You can also come to me for questions. So I went to her sometimes with very, very silly questions. And then the third month, okay, I already had this plan. So I had a scheme for the month, which I know that this will happen at this time. This is when I have to prepare. And yeah, so that was the first 3 months for me. And then the rest just come by itself.
Yeah, then the nerves were gone, really, weren't they?
Yeah, they were gone. And yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your stories and your expertise with us. I hope that you, the audience, have enjoyed listening to Anna, and take good care, because we'll see you again in another Speak to Shine show very, very soon. Anna, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Here, everybody, thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye.